think you've hit on something really important there. So you and I spoke last time in our last discussion about how we both got such a passion for looking after elderly animals.
Yes.
But for all sorts of reasons. And it makes me quite emotional to think about it, with the wisdom that our elderly animals not only pass on to us humans very graciously, but also when you see the interaction of how the elderly animals take that leadership, that calming role, the nurturing role with other animals in the group. Now, do you think, Emelie, that part of the society problems that we've got is because a lot of people, again, I'm using in inverted commas for those listening this on the podcast, the Western world, we've lost that appreciation for the elders. So every single ancient tradition, wisdom, tribe has always had a real reverence for when you move into that part of your life and the wisdom that you can bring and the stability that you can bring. But in our societies, we don't see that so much. We tend to see the elderly as a burden, put them in care homes, etc., rather than actually learn from them and have that stability around us. Do you feel that's a contributor?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, you even see it, we project that onto older animals as well. It's like we keep the animals for as long as they are productive.
Yeah.
And productive could mean for as long as you can ride them or compete them, or for as long as you can do whatever activity that you sort of bought this animal to be able to do. So we also miss out on what we can learn from, like you say, spending time with someone who has all these experiences, but also we need to practice serving others. In a way, I think we will not be, like you say, we're unhappy and we're discontent. And I think part of that discontentment is that we are probably in our deep nature meant to serve this life, to uphold the space of life, or the space where life can take place, but not to interfere with it so much. It's like I guess we misunderstood our role as sort of having dominion over this entire creation, as it's been sort of said to us in the Bible, and we practice that everything is here for us. Even to some extent in spiritual practices, it is pronounced like that. All these animals are here to serve us. It's like, well, what if it actually is the other way around? Because when we do that, we feel a lot better. There is a sort of deeper contentment when we are able to help others. So I guess our role, not only do we miss out on learning from the older generations, so we have to make lots of mistakes, but also we miss the opportunity to actually serve them.
Yeah.
And with that sort of respect that we also need to practice, because we are losing, when we are these sort of modern drug addicts, we are losing self-respect. We do, whether we are aware of it or not. And then it becomes very hard to respect someone else. And we look so much to the outcome of things. I guess this is another important factor, that we are doing something in order to get the result of the doing. So with elderly people, the result is that eventually they will die. So what's the point? It's not going to lead anywhere in our productive society. So that's why also you can see the politics in Sweden. It's like, if you put money into a school, that's a cost. But if you build a road, it's an investment. You will see how they sort of phrase it differently, because we think that one thing will lead to further development, and that is brilliant. And whatever is more towards care is actually, that's a cost, because it doesn't produce anything. Even if you would think that a school could do that, but that's how we look at it. So when we are constantly going somewhere, we have a problem. And I guess this is where we relate to linear time, and no other species does that. So we are doing things in order to get the sort of reward of the result, which means that we are really not present in what is happening at the time. So we seem to be the only species that can experience that things feels like they are without meaning. So all the time we look for meaning. We look for something outside of the event itself. I can't just take a walk in the forest with my horse but I can say that I can do it if I'm training the horse. If it's an exercise that will strengthen the legs or the back or whatever, then I can do it. But to just actually be in the forest because you want to spend that time, you almost need to find an excuse for that.
Yeah.
So we are, and we then imply all these training methods on our animals where they do things in order to get a reward. Like they will sit or run or jump or lie down or make somersaults, whatever, to get a sweet. But it's actually a very strange way of forming a relationship. I mean, another way of forming it would be that we find a common interest and we share the experience of doing that. It's like I'm having this conversation with you because it gives me a sense of meaningfulness, because I get to challenge my thoughts, and it's a beautiful sharing. It's not because I know that I will have a cup of coffee afterwards. That would be completely different. So it's I think this sort of rat race scenario is also because our idea of that we are here on this planet living in order to do something, and to develop and to go from A to B, and then something must have changed. Other species don't really speak about the meaning of life at all, because the meaning of life to them is the fact that we can be alive at all, which is completely different. And so I think we are really missing out. And it's a way, in a way, we do these practices and we call it mindfulness and things. But I think it's also, even mindfulness, we could say that we practice in order to feel more calm. But to live just for the sake of living, this seems to be where other species really can help us, actually, as to quality of life.
I love that so much. And I've been observing my animals so much recently. So again, I will put my hand up and sort of say, it used to really amaze me when people would sort of say, oh, I'm going for a rest in the day and I'm doing this. And then I thought, oh, just watching my animals. And the whole point is most animals in nature, a few exceptions, but let's take most of them, they can't store a whole larder full of food to last them through the winter. For example, there are some exceptions which have some great adaptations to do that, but most animals can't. So each day they have a routine of food, water, shelter, looking after their young, etc. And we seem to think that, as you say, we've done that, therefore we can tick that off the list. And we tend to keep those sort of mundane habits of living life, I would say, rather than just survival, as if they're an inconvenience that get in the way of some of our other dreams. But my cats or my dogs, or even when I look at the wildlife around me, the fact that tomorrow they have to go off and hunt again for food, whether they're a herbivore or a carnivore, doesn't stop them resting today. And exactly. It's such a beautiful cycle when you observe that, in terms of appreciating what we need to do right here, right now, to keep that natural cycle going. And us humans are sort of, we're waiting for our holidays, we're waiting for our government, we're waiting for our pay rise, we're waiting to be responsible enough to have children. Don't ever wait, you never will be, trust me.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one.
It's this constant, as you say, driven from our mind, which is so taking away the enjoyment of the simple things, life, that actually we are evolved to do. And it's such a paradox about how we get back to that, because I think most people watching this will understand that they're not happy. There's an intense level of stress in some area of most people's lives. How you label it will be different for different individuals, but on that rat wheel of life, of paying your mortgage, of educating your children, of after relatives, etc. So